Did you already start?
Yeah, we're good. We're rolling all this nonsense. So,
as usual.
Do you want to get Dear Esther out of the way then? First?
It's up to you.
Yeah, I'll be interested to hear this.
I know, so I didn't know if you wanted to get out of the way, you wanted to look forward to it. It's up to you.
Save it till last. No, go for it, man. Go for it.
Buyer's remorse.
I guess we probably should put a spoiler warning at the beginning of this one because it's all there is.
Hello and welcome to Buyer's Remorse. I'm Darren.
I'm Justin.
And on Buyer's Remorse, this is the show where we force each other to play a game that's been unplayed in our library. And we play it for 60 minutes, and then we come back and see if it's a Buyer's Remorse or a wonderful confirmation. And I think this one's definitely going to be a confirmation today. You play one of my favourite games ever. Go on.
Okay. I'm gonna have to come back to that exact statement in a minute.
What statement?
Dear Esther is the game I played for today.
Yep.
Developed by the Chinese Room, known I think mostly for Amnesia, a Machine for Pigs, which I believe you've also played, yes?
I've got it. I haven't played it, actually.
Okay. I thought I had, but I think that I was confusing this with another game, just as I think I've confused Dear Esther with another game I heard about for a very long time as well.
Ah, okay.
And you might be able to help me figure out what game I'm confusing it with. It's also developed by Robert Briscoe, who I'm guessing is probably the main person behind it and then got the Chinese Room to help.
Right.
Published by Secret Mode. It comes from 15th of February 2017. It is 1.37 gigs, which I guess is just because of the environment.
Yeah.
It is $10 at base. However, luckily it was free for me. This is one Darren has been waiting for me to play for a long time because he basically gave it to me, said...
I had a thought yesterday. I was looking at Humble.
Yeah.
Would you say that the Trove is part of your library because you've paid for a membership?
Oh, for crying out loud. Well, it's not this month. Because I'm paused. I would say if you want to give me stuff out of the Trove, then...
Because there's only one.
No, that's fine. I think that's totally fine. But which one are you looking at?
They've got Dear Esther in the Trove.
I forgot about that.
I think we should cut this out and paste it into the VR when we talk about it as well.
Okay, but that will be... It's got to be a month where I don't pause. So it's got to be a better month than...
than this one.
You need to play Dear Esther. It's in the Humble Trove, which I think the monthly is now moved on to some sort of app. It's the same thing, but a different way to get to it, I think.
Yeah.
As far as reviews, recently, mostly positive. Overall, mostly positive. Overall, like 1,400 reviews. Dear Esther is a walking sim.
It's the grandfather of walking sims, yeah.
That can't be. It's only from 2017.
It was originally a source mod from like early 2000s.
Okay, that does make a huge difference then.
Yeah, it was the first game that was actually coined walking sim, and the developer took great affront at that, and they hated how they were labelled, and now walking sim is a actual whole genre.
And boy, is it.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you, dear listener, that Darren picked this not for your listening pleasure, but for his. He knew exactly what Dear Esther was and exactly what he was giving to me. So unlike, I do believe we've already released our Gaps episode where you said you would not be giving me any more walking sims.
Oh yeah. This is the last one.
This is the last one for Gaps, but it will not be the last one for Buyer's Remorse. I have a feeling, should any others appear in my library, I'm going to be stuck playing them. We're going to get to this at the end, but Dear Esther is not for me.
Why? Why?
Oh, you know why. You know why. Much like me choosing a battle strategy Total War Shogun 2 for you, that's exactly what Dear Esther is for me. It is exactly the type of thing that you would love and would just drive me crazy.
Yeah. Even for me, the walking in this is like, we could do with a shift key here.
That's exactly why before I said this is definitely a walking sim because there is no run.
Yeah.
There is no jump. I don't even think there's an interact button. There's absolutely nothing to do in this game except walk.
I think you can shine a flashlight in this game.
Okay, that's right at the beginning. So there's a narration of a man to Esther where he talks about being washed ashore. You're dropped off in front of an empty lighthouse. You can go into the building. There's some sort of chemical equation on the wall painted in a fluorescent bluish green. The flashlight has no kind of weak batteries like in most of our horror stealth games.
Hey.
However, you don't turn it on. It just turns itself on.
Oh, does it? Okay. Right. So you don't even press F to flashlight then?
No, there's no buttons at all. So I appreciate that the flashlight doesn't need batteries, but honestly, I needed the flashlight all of about 2 times, and I didn't even really need it those 2 times because there was nothing to see and nothing to do. You're going to walk along. Well, I did. You could choose multiple ways to walk.
I think the way that the levels are designed, they all kind of funnel you into one direction, though, eventually.
I believe so, though from something I looked up, my impression is that you can actually get more of the story if you choose different walking paths, so that you might actually want to play it multiple times to get the full story.
Even better, Justin, you can go back and play it again. Get all those achievements.
I was going to get out of the way. The one good thing is, it is a visually beautiful game.
It's pretty, yeah.
The way that the wind comes through the weeds looks really good. It's not all the weeds move at one time. The weeds closer to the shore start moving, and then it progresses on as it really should, and it looks really good.
Where have we seen that before?
You're thinking Summertime Madness.
That's right, yeah.
Where he spent a month perfecting grass.
Perfecting grass.
And it was worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That detail really makes the world feel like something. And so we have it here, and it works, and it looks good. But everything else about this game... Yes. Thank you, because that's basically hitting into my final point. This isn't a game.
Yeah.
This isn't a game. You walk around, you get bits of quote-unquote story, because even that has some issues. Because in my playthrough, at least, there are essentially 3 stories all happening at the same time. We have his stuff to Esther Donnelly, interestingly, who I'm guessing was his wife?
I think so.
We're having to fill in a lot of the gaps because it's not really been specifically told to us. There is a book by Donnelly that he stole from a library. I don't know why he stole it from the library instead of just checking it out.
Just buy a copy of it, yeah.
Well, from what he described of the book, it's not a very popular book. It's probably out of print and hard to get. Nobody probably has this book except for the Edinburgh Library where he stole it from, and, well, now it's gone forever. We have a hugely metaphorical story about him becoming the island. Oh, my kidney stones are now the stones on the beach, and that kind of thing, which is not my kind of story at all. And that's kind of it. You have a game with 4 chapters where you're instructed at the beginning, there is no save function. You have to get to the end of the chapter in order for it to save.
I don't remember that, but okay.
And you're not really told when it's the end of the chapter. Though, I think every loading screen is the end of the chapter.
Right.
And on Steam, you get an achievement that will say a name. Donnelly, Jakobsen, Esther, and at the end, I think, Paul? Which I think is us as the character.
Is it? Okay. I don't remember that.
The only way I'm putting that together is the achievement.
Okay.
Because otherwise, he never says his name.
So who's Paul?
I think it's the character we're walking around as.
Did you finish the game? Just to cut to the end briefly.
Okay.
Did you finish it? Just so that I know if you finished
I didn't finish it in the hour.
Okay.
I don't think it's possible to finish it in an hour because you can't walk fast enough. And I was foolishly stopping to read the subtitles as I was listening because I was not following the story and I needed everything I could to help me get through it. So I was stopping, listening, reading the text, sometimes a paragraph wall of text.
Yeah.
Instead of just walking along. I did finish it only because after I got to my first hour, when I looked it up on How Long to Beat, it said an hour and a half. And I thought, well, I'm not exactly sure where the chapter's finished. I may as well just push through and finish. So I I pushed through for another half hour. Probably not even, to be honest.
Okay.
I just felt like I may as well finish it. I didn't really want to, but when you're that close, you may as well. Now, this is a problem for me, being that the game is only an hour and a half, and it is $10 at base.
Yeah.
I'm sure by now that it often drops cheaper. Luckily for me, there was a point on Steam where they were just giving it away for a weekend or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to get that thanks to my brother-in-law, like letting me know, hey, this is free. And I went, well, that's good timing because I've been waiting 2 months for this one.
Yeah, keep on pausing on the Humble, it's like get kicked out of the Trove every month.
Yeah. So I basically said, well, Darren's going to be very happy. Now I can finally do it. So here I am, and I've played it. And I thought, okay, I'm going to play it all the way through, though, if it's only 90 minutes.
Yeah.
I didn't like the last chapter, though. The last chapter is the one that could have made it all work, and it really didn't.
Is that the one where you get to the beach and you see, like, the old shipwreck?
No. Okay, so let me go through the chapters. Yeah. The first chapter is walking around the empty bit of the lighthouse. You can walk along the beach. You can walk then up into... There's basically an area about this legend from Don Lee's book about a hermit that came to the island, and farmers left tribute to this hermit, and he lived for 116 years, something like that. That happens right outside of a very tiny cave that you walk through. On the other side, you can see the cave you're supposed to go to with a light that seems to be flickering, which I'm guessing is meant to be a candle, but it looks like somebody doing Morse code with a flashlight. So you wander the long way around to get into that cave to find out there's nothing in it except paintings that probably this guy or Donnelly did.
Right.
Then get confused as to where to go, maybe walk in the water and die again. Mm-hmm. I've already drowned 3 times by this point. One time on purpose, just because I was bored.
Yeah.
Then walk up this little path, which is really, in my opinion, kind of hard to tell. In a game where you can't jump and where you can't step up on anything that is knee height.
Yeah.
You're kind of discouraged from wanting to explore. And if you explore too far, you might fall down onto the beach and then have to walk the long way around again. So for me, after the beginning part, I didn't want to mess around with going the wrong way and having to start any section over again. But you basically walk up this trickle of a stream with more of those barbed wire fences that are hidden within the weeds and you can barely see them. Mm-hmm. Why is my character moving to... Oh, there's another fence there.
Yeah.
And then there's an area with rectangular stones that are propped up and they appear to be something, but you can't interact with them. There's nothing written on them. And then I found a little area to fall down into, and then that takes me to the ship area.
Okay.
Now, in the ship area, I was like, okay, finally, I'm to an area where I'm going to do something. But no, of course not. This is
just look.
Dear Esther. I thought I saw a shadowy figure up on the cliff, and so I walked up there, and when I got there was nothing.
Yeah.
However, you do get a narration about the buoy off in the distance. Come back to the ships. You can't do anything. You can't get up onto them. You basically have to walk up until you get to Jakobsen's bothy, which are a few stone shacks, basically. And that's the whole Jakobsen story was not interesting to me at all.
I don't remember it at all.
It's just some goat herd who came here and then died eventually.
Okay.
There's more to it, but that's the long and short of it.
Yeah.
That will lead you to a path where you walk down and then you get into a cave. In the cave, it's beautiful. There's all sorts of luminescent blues and greens in different areas, water trickling down, which looks quite good.
It reminded me of Blackreach in Skyrim. You know, the underwater cave with the underground dragon?
Maybe I don't. Are you talking the area that had glowing mushrooms and things like that?
And there was like there was like giants down there and a dragon and a big disco ball looking thing in the middle on the ceiling of the cave.
Yeah, I don't remember the dragon, but I do remember walking into that and just thinking, what world am I in? Yeah. Where did this come from? This doesn't feel the same.
It did for me, because it's all bioluminescent, stalactites and mites and stuff. And
I think in Skyrim, there's the potential of, ooh, this is Dwemer Ruins, and there's all sorts of things I'll be able to find here. Treasures and enemies.
Well, yeah, and you're in the wrong game for that, then.
This one, I'm going to find stalactites and stalagmites and running water.
Yeah. And some equations on the wall, I think, as well.
Not in this part. That was in the previous cave that you have to walk to find out there's, like I said, nothing in it, really. So this one, you are forced to fall down a couple different holes.
Mm-hmm.
At least my path, the way I chose. It basically is like, oh, that looks bad, but I don't see another way to go, so I'll jump down. Now, unlike in the ocean, here, I can swim. Makes no sense.
I don't know. Maybe it's paddling. I don't know.
Because in the ocean, you die within about 10 seconds. Here, you could be underwater, I think, pretty much forever. And nothing would happen. Possibly not. I didn't push it to see how long because again, I didn't want to die.
Start back, yeah. Restart that checkpoint.
I will say this, it doesn't really, when you do drown, you don't seem to go way back. It's not like you start at the beginning of the chapter.
Mm-hmm.
You just start on the shore, but then you have to realize, like, where am I? But it's just an experience I did not want to extend. Let's put it that way. When you jump down one of them, the game froze for a minute and I was in a deep panic, but it fixed itself at some point. And then I was underwater again now forever, but I'm in some sort of dreamland where I'm seeing the wreck. There are 2 cars there. It doesn't look quite how I think it should. First off, there's no bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm meant to be remembering the moment, I'm remembering it, but without any people in it. I didn't see a car that had a dented bonnet. That was what was told to me earlier in a narration. It just felt like a waste of time to me. I understand what they're trying to do, but it isn't pulled off, in my opinion. You get out of here and eventually you're going to walk out, and this will take you to the last chapter. And the last chapter is, I guess we probably should put a spoiler warning at the beginning of this one because it's all there is.
Yeah.
It's all there is. No, this is the one where you're going to walk around. There are all sorts of paper boats made out of the letters he wrote to Esther. They're still floating, which makes 0 sense because they'd last about 30 seconds in the water. You've got the long walk up to the radio tower or whatever that is.
Yeah, it's the radio tower.
There's all sorts of sentences on the cliffside, which sometimes are really, really hard to make out and don't really add up to much. And essentially what I'm getting throughout this is our narrator saying, boy, I'd love it if Donnelly was here. We'd argue about who painted what where and who tidied this up and who messed this up, all of that. But he was crazy towards the end, just like I'm getting crazy now. He didn't say that literally. I'm paraphrasing my interpretation here. But it all leads to, hey, guess what? I'm not a reliable narrator. Add another to, like, Justin's pet peeves. Take the long walk up there, and then the game, when you get to the top, just takes over.
Yeah.
There's a lot of narration. He will climb up to the top, jump off, which, of course, you would love to do.
Awesome.
Because whenever there's an opportunity to jump off something in a game, you're going to try it.
Yep.
Fall all the way down in kind of an unrealistic way because you can keep moving away from the cliffside. You'd have to have just big gusts of wind to keep doing that. Though, I think at the bottom you turn into a bird because you end up flying off.
Yeah, you got those squirrel suits on where you just like...
I don't know what it is, but there you are, and then it's done.
Dear Esther, brought to you by Red Bull. Yeah.
This is everything I won't say it's everything I dislike in a game because there are some things the game doesn't have that, it doesn't have boss fights. So there's nothing I can argue about boss fights in this one. But here's a list of things it does that Justin doesn't like. First off, I have found out I don't really like visual novels. I would equate this to being a visual novel. I don't like walking sims, especially slow walking, such as this one. I don't like games where choices don't matter, and I don't really have any choices, though I appreciate the fact that I didn't have to explore every single tiny little path, because there were multiple ones, and I went, oh, if I have to go all the way back to the beginning from this point to choose that other path to the right I didn't choose, that would be awful. However, like you said, the game funnels you into these 4 chapters. There's no way to branch off or do anything. It's a confusing story, which if it's done in a mind-bending, clever way, that's fine. If it's done in a reverse time way, in the way Memento was, I'm all over that. This one just seems to be muddy just to be muddy. You have 3 stories that don't seem to work that are meant to connect that to me don't. You've got basically no interaction in the game whatsoever, which takes away the fact that it's a game.
Yeah.
You're using metaphor as story, which I don't really like. Metaphor, in my opinion, should help a story. It should not be the story. Apparently, according to what I read, to get the full story, you have to play multiple times. I'm not a multiple times player.
Yeah. But even only for an hour and a half at a time?
It's got to be good. And this isn't that. The price, 90 minutes for $10.
Steep. Yeah, that's
a movie in the cinema, you know?
It's actually insane.
Ultimately, I think they have not chosen the best medium for this story. I think that what they would do better is to have this as a comic or to have this as a short film, not a long film. They don't have enough to fill that. I think having it as a short film, as a 30-minute short film, where it is possibly just somebody walking along and you can have the artsy ending, which I probably wouldn't like, but I think I would appreciate it more in a film than I would in a game. Because if you're not going to give me any choices anyway, what's the point of me playing? If I don't get to interact with anything, it's not a game. So what am I doing here? I'm basically walking through what would be a movie.
That's it. Walking simulator, man. That's exactly the problems that they had with it. That's why they coined the thing. It's just, this is just a press W simulator. Like, just keep moving forward.
Sometimes you have to move to the side.
Yes.
I wondered for a long time, because I was playing a controller, if the keyboard and mouse, but anything I pressed is like nothing worked.
No. Just W, ASD, and mouse to look around. That's it. Yeah, because you don't even have to click on audio logs. It's just when you hit an area, you'll hear something, won't you?
Yeah.
That's right. So you don't even get to click on anything.
Do you really like this game?
Yeah. I think this is a really important game to the genre, man. I think it's...
To the genre of walking sims.
Yeah, I do. I really believe that.
I would believe that. I didn't believe it thinking it was 2017.
Yeah, no, it's old. It was originally a Half-Life mod.
In that case, I'll appreciate it for its place in history, but it's still not a game for me.
Yeah, that's totally
Even
fair
if I had played this when it was new,
yeah,
I would have been really annoyed.
But imagine it back in the day on the Source engine with not as nice graphics. Just that without the graphics to look at.
So was it not nice to look at?
It did push the Source engine pretty hard, and it was quite good for the time. But what they've done in like the remastering of it, they've really touched it up. Like that ship scene still sticks in my mind, where you see the shipwreck, and it's beautiful. The game is beautiful, but yeah, it wasn't as good back in the day, that's for sure.
That definitely wouldn't have gotten me then.
But it was free, so
okay,
there you go. But you got it for free now anyway, and then it's another one checked off your list. You got to go back and do the director's commentary though, yeah?
I'm definitely not, though. I did note that is something you would probably enjoy.
I've done it. Yeah, I've done it.
Is it worth doing?
Yeah, if you want, I mean, if you really wanted to maybe know a bit more about why people went bananas over this game and what the kind of production history was and how they put it together, because they've got the writer, the lead designer, and I think the music score, because the music is actually really good. Did you like the music in the game?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. So they've got those three guys.
In his day was probably amazing. Now it seems sort of par for the course.
Yeah.
Because we're used to having better music in games now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in that point, it would have stuck out probably.
Right. So they've just got those three, and they just talk about how they developed it. And yeah, I find it really interesting. But yeah, you know why I picked this for you, man. There's no hiding it. And it's technically not even something you bought, but yeah, I managed to lawyer my way in on Dear Esther.
Yeah, fair enough.
So you won't be going back even for maybe for the director's commentary. I don't think so. But
unlikely.
Yeah, unlikely. Who would you recommend this to, if anyone, apart from me?
Well, I know exactly who to recommend this to. Obviously, Walking Sim fans, but you probably already played it.
Yeah.
I would recommend this to people who are stuck in quarantine.
Why? Because you get to go outside?
You get to go outside. You get to have a leisurely stroll along the beach. Maybe people who want to explore caves but are too afraid or claustrophobic. Well, you have a whole chapter for walking around beautiful caves without it being real. And that's about it.
Yeah, fair enough. And what tags would you give it then, apart from Walking Sim?
The problem is that, then let's take Walking Sim out, and then I've got 3 others.
Right,
okay,
sweet.
So muddled story,
Mm-hmm.
because I found it to be just 3 stories I didn't really care about that didn't kind of work. And the one of, oh, she was killed by a drunk driver was like pretty obvious from the very first thing he said. Slow walking.
Slow walking simulator.
Yeah, I really think that should be in that tag. And no interaction.
Fair enough.
Because I think you need that to warn people, hey, this isn't really a game. I mean, you could call it visual novel as opposed to that, but it's not typical visual novel style. I think if people are looking for a visual novel and they got this, they would go, this isn't a visual novel.
Yeah, it's a hard sell on visual novel as well, but I can see why you would say that. And I would almost say that as well, because you are just clicking through the story. But in this case, walking through the story. You're not clicking anything.
You click start, and that's the last interaction you get.
So, I guess that's it, yeah. So, definitely buyer's confirmation then, yeah?
I debated on this one. Because, well, it's a tough thing for me to say, hey, this game is garbage. It's not. It's just garbage for me. Like, I don't like this game. But a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And now that you're talking about its place in history, but the thing is, all night I've been thinking about this because I played through it yesterday. And the thing is, when I look back at my experience, I just really feel like I got nothing out of it. There was nothing for me. And so, like, spending that hour and a half to play through this was kind of a waste of time. I could have gotten just as much out of this by hearing you tell me about it in 5 minutes as I did playing it for an hour and a half.
Yeah, I was going to say, it all must all boil down to how valuable your time is worth, basically.
And for me, I'd rather watch a movie, a good 90-minute comedy in that time. So for me, it's Remorse.
Remorse.
Yep.
Which I don't think you're surprised by at all.
No, not at all. Oh, Dear Esther's in the Trove. And then I was like, oh, Dear Esther's in the Trove.
I'm so worried that I'm going to feel compelled to finish it, even though...
It's only 3 hours of the most boring time of your life, Justin. Oh, it's only an hour, because it's an hour.
True, but once I play an hour...
you'd be like, shit, I got to finish this now.
That's what I'm afraid of, yeah.